Perfect. So first of all, I'm Tony Smith, account manager for Travis, and just want to say thanks for taking the time to look at the portal. I have with me Kathy, and she is a sales engineer, and she'll be showing you the portal and be answering any questions that you have. So Bobby, real quick, can you just tell us who's in the room there?
Sure, I'll let everybody introduce themselves real quick to you. I'll start with myself. I'm Bobby, ITS project manager. Go this way.
Jeremy Corbello, EAS engineer.
Eric Mangrum, Active Directory.
Janice Brown, App Dev Director.
David Lample from Project Office.
Jesse Gutierrez with the Network Team. Dane Herbat, Operations Manager.
Gary Pennell, Server Team.
Liz Chupko, Architect for App Dev. Memo Berla, App Dev.
Russell Hahn, Application Development Manager.
That's it.
Okay, and then also on the line is Nitin, and you guys are very familiar with Nitin. He's the project manager on this account, so for this account. So he's on the line too.
Hey guys.
And then, so I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, and she's going to get started. And then, if you guys have any questions or anything, Bobby, don't hesitate to, pop in and ask questions, just as normal.
Great. Thank you. Great.
Hi, good morning, everybody. So we're here to talk about the OnBase Public Access Viewer. And this is just the ability for the public to go onto your website and pull up documents that you've allowed them to pull up. So one of the advantages of the public access portal is the fact that it doesn't use an OnBase license. So when someone goes to the website and does a document search, it's not using that OnBase license. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background about the public access viewer, it is just custom queries defined in your configuration, and when they go to pull back the document, they are automatically converted to PDF, so they're not going to be able to, do any editing or anything on the document. It's strictly to view the documents. Pretty much public access is an independent web server module, and it consists of a set of ASP.NET server controls, and we're going to take a look at some of those controls here in just a minute. So these controls that we've already built can be kind of placed on your web page, or you can also do some customization to those controls as well. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about what's included. So when you purchase the public access, you get this set of controls, and it comes with search panel and document hit list. So when I go to click on this first control here, and here again, this is just a custom query, and we're exposing it to the website. So I have some civil court documents, and you determine what documents are going to be out online. I have some civil documents. You can also determine what keyword values that you're going to allow them to search by. We have Mary Smith here. I'm going to look for some documents for her. And again, I have several documents. They could search by case number or any of those things. When we go to pull back the document, it's rendering it in a PDF, and here it is. So that's one of the, so we have the search panel, and then the hit list is included in those. The next one I'm going to show you is just an alternative. This I think has a little bit more of pizzazz in it, I guess you could say. I think it's built on .NET. So again, civil court documents, the interface here is just a little bit different. When I search for Mary Smith, again, it brings up a hit list of documents, and I can click on any one of those documents and pull those up. And of course, if there were more pages, you could pull those up. Any questions so far? We can also expose already predefined a query. So in this example, I'm going to show you. It's taken just a second to come up. Okay.
While we wait,
Okay.
is it possible to watermark documents that are being exposed for the public?
Watermark them how?
Well, for instance, right now, any PDF that we allow to be accessed to our website is stamped in the background with not an official copy.
Gotcha. Yeah, because you're doing a lot. This is in the web.config file. You could probably write a script that could actually stamp that for you.
Okay.
I guess the other option would have to be stamped inside of OnBase.
So then there'd be two
There's
copies.
two copies,
of
like
the
one's a
record.
public copy and one's an official copy.
Yeah, yeah.
You would have to
But I
have,
have seen that.
you'd have to have two
I have-
stored though, wouldn't you, Kathy?
You'd have to have what?
2 documents stored in OnBase?
Yeah, you actually do. I mean, like if you're going to convert these to the public, you're probably going to want those to have 2 different document types, one for the public access and then one that are internal only.
And that's how most people do it because they'll send a lot of documents get sent through a like redaction, things like that, that would allow for that to happen.
I forgot to mention, I think Ted from District Clerk's also online too. I believe they do have 2 versions of a document. One is the original, one is redacted, but they belong to different document types.
Yep.
So, but I think what Liz mentioning is slightly different. Is even if it's redacted, they don't want people to download it as an official record. So something they can add on the fly.
They want
Right.
the document
Right, unless-
to leave.
Right.
Right. You want to add a watermark on the fly saying
Right,
that this is
and
not
that's
official
what we
record.
do right now.
Correct.
You do that in
Yeah, in OnBase it would, I didn't know about adding it on the fly and not having it stored in OnBase, Kathy. I wouldn't think. you'd be able to do
I'll
that.
have to verify. I'll have to verify for sure, but I'm sure that with some scripting and stuff that could happen. Or when it gets converted to that public document, put that stamp, that watermark on there. So either way, it should work, but I'll verify on the fly.
It's just done.
So this one is, again, we're not giving them a lot of flexibility here. They're only able to search for contracts. We are allowing them to say, well, what are we looking for specifically here? And it's really limited in their data that they're going to search for. So this one is one that's pretty locked down and pretty specific of what they can search for. I think I have a document in here from 2012. And I'm going to do a search. And again, here it brings up this document. And this one's multiple page document. And again, I think you can lock this down even to the point where they're only viewing the document. If you have some type of e-commerce or something, it can also work with that. So if they needed to print out an unofficial copy or whatever, and they had to pay for that. So also, if you have full text capabilities, you can expose a full text search here. I'm just going to look for Highland here, and again, it's going to pull back, and it scores it by relevancy just like it does in your system. Of course, you're going to get a lot of documents. It's going to maybe be a little bit more cumbersome with the full text. However, you can also have full text with keyword search. So I have here maybe a contract. I can search a term, and maybe I have some other data in here as well. I think I'll just put like a to and from date. Some of this data in here is pretty old. And here, again, I'm just, whoops, didn't like my to and from date. Oh, I have a little one missing there. Got to be able to type. But in this instance, I didn't find anything in here, but 2011, I'm pretty sure there should be something in there. Nope. But you get the gist of it. You can kind of lock this down to, there should have been something in there from that date. Oh, there we go. I'm sure we're going to find something now. Nope. Well, dang it. There we go. So we did get something. And there's my date criteria there. Although it shouldn't have picked up the 20. Yeah, it should have because I went back to 2010. Yeah. Helps if you're on the right document type. But then that just gives you some ideas. Any questions on that specifically?
I think what we would want to do in our environment is probably have a different website that's like probably branded and probably inside of our content management system, and then then in turn access this portal from that site so that we can control that from because we use Joomla CMS right now. It's very hard to have that I guess server called this web server to pull those fields or whatever things we want without having to have that web front end.
Like what we do now is frame it in there, or
what we do like iframe and cut out some of it, but I think we wanted to get away from doing that to get the cross-site scripting stuff.
Yeah, you could expose this any way that you want. You could even, if you don't want to, you could expose everything like we've done here. If you don't want to do that and you want to have more control over those records, I mean, you could even throw a form out on your site and have them request the documents, and then you electronically email them out or put them out on a site for them to download or to view or anything like that as well. So there's
a portal site.
Pardon?
What's that?
It seemed like we would use the portal site rather than try to put it inside Joomla, just link across to this and just brand it. I mean, this is just custom branding on the pages.
Right.
Yeah,
this
is internal discussion here. We can go on.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm here to answer any questions about this. Again, you would set up custom queries in the background. You'd have to have public access user in your system, and then allow them access to these documents. And you can send documents, you know, even through that workflow process and have them re-indexed. Maybe have that watermark put on them so that if somebody pulls them back, then that watermark is there. If it converts it to PDF, I'm sure that we can figure out a way to put that watermark on there. So again, another example is, you know, we have a public records request exposing like an electronic form of some type to fill out. You can do this on your website. Just kind of, I'll walk through this. You may have seen this before. But and if you have questions, be sure to answer. I'm not going to fill up all of this. I'm sure you're familiar with the Unity forms here and how you can require information to be filled out. And I want a witness statement. And this is accident report, and maybe receive these electronically and just submit. And then what happens, this is going to go, and then you have the splash screen that comes back and says, hey, we got your request. We will have these back with you within 2 business days or whatever your SLA is. When I go into the client here, and let me go in here, a couple things happens in the background with workflow, of course, is when you come in here, you can see that if it hits the box, and my server is just a little bit slow, but it can send a message saying to whomever reviews this, you've got a public request to review out there. And then when you come in here, you can go into the workflow and then review those documents. Here's the one I just submitted. And you can see a couple things happen in the background. Now I have more of these tabs here. It also put a request number on there. And then here's the status. And as it goes through this process, all of these things will update. It has the date and time that the request was submitted and the status at this point. I don't have any related items in here. I come in here and I just know that she wants a witness statement. And we're making some assumptions. We should have requested, you know, like if there's an accident number, what the accident number was. But we could, you know, send her an email, say we don't have enough information, or we can send it on and do some research here. Just going to flip over to the retrieval window. I'm going to look in my public safety records for a witness. And let's just assume that we know, we're making the assumption that she's the driver. And we do happen to find something there. Now, one of the things you may not want to do, I mean, here you could maybe put that watermark on, or we're probably not going to want to expose the witness information to her, so we could actually redact this. But before we redact that, I don't want to do this on my original copy. Got ahead of myself. Okay, turn it off. Let me close this. Open it again. I want to make a copy of this because I don't want to redact this original because it is permanent. So I'm just going to execute this task to create a public records package. So again, if there was more than one record that we were pulling up, we could do this on both of them. 19060, I think, was my number. So now this is the new copy. But I'm going to go back into my workflow and go into my related items. And refresh this. And this should pop in there. So here it is. It converted it. Here's the witness statement. Now I want to redact it. And now I'm redacting this information because we don't want this person to stalk the witness for what they said. Once I get that on there, I'm just going to go in and create a new redaction. And now this is permanently on here. So when I send this to her, she won't have that information. And so again, redaction's complete. and I can send it out to the next queue to either now it's available, we could put it out on a portal for her, or tell her to go pull it down from a portal. We can email it, that type of thing. So that's just a quick, simple little process that you could, use for a request for information as well. So a couple different ways you can do that. Questions?
You're using web forms controls. How well do they behave on tablets? About half of our visitors to the website are on tablets or smaller.
Right. So forms can be, if you're publishing them to the web, they can, what is it called? Mobile friendly. It does support mobile. So does the public access. There is a mobile support piece in there as well.
Okay.
The controls. Yep. Yep. What other questions do you have?
Do you have, I guess we probably need information on like the way the architecture is set up for this type of solution, like what are they using for, what the way it's communicating?
Yeah, do we have the right people on the phone to talk architecture?
As far as the public access?
Yeah, more of a systems architecture network.
Right.
This.
Yeah, I think, at a high level, yeah, probably. So what specific question do you have?
I don't know. Like, do you have
I think so, like a
preferred
typical,
architecture diagram?
like typical practice, yeah, how your traffic comes in, what servers you set up, how to get an internal
So
network.
currently this can be put, this communicates with the app server. So the web server communicates with the app server, so you could actually put another server if you wanted outside your DMZ or your firewall, if you're concerned about, somebody coming into the firewall. So you could have a server that this web.config file and the web server sits out there so that when they're calling that, they're not actually going into your network. Is that what you're asking?
But we should probably carve some time outside of this meeting to, and if you have any diagrams that you can send us before that meeting, that'd be great.
Okay. I will look to see if we have any diagrams out there on this. And again, these are a lot of APIs working in the background in your web.config file.
I think we'll probably just stand up one and
Yeah, like we
we'll probably stand up one in our QA and go ahead and connect it up, and then we'll create a temporary site.
Well, just to verify this, public port doesn't require users authentication. It just opens to everybody. If we want to build authentication, we'll have to find a way ourselves, correct?
Correct.
Well, I think,
well, you need to set up users in OnBase for public access and give them access to those custom queries that you set up. So there needs to be some queries set up that says, okay, these are going to be my public records. And then you're probably going to want to do some type of, what specific documents are you looking at? Court documents or?
It could be any kind. It could be from a public land record or some
Okay.
court record. So you have two use cases or scenarios here. One could be strictly user controlled. They need to be able to have on-base access to get in. There's another scenario that could be for anybody inside the county. You can come in, pull a record, and look it up. So.
Okay. So you're probably going to want more of this, one of these two controls here that, and set up the custom queries where they have a list of, all court documents or all contracts or all land records or those types of things, right?
I imagine what we'll probably end up having is they'll probably all be busted up based on departments and stuff like that, right? Like so, district court's going to want inside of their site, they're going to want some sort of a way that people, when they're inside the district clerk site, to be able to search for documents related to things that they want to expose.
Yep, and you could have that as well.
A separate one, so we're gonna have a separate
Different.
front end for every single department, and then maybe there might be some, you know, like some data repository type of stuff where we're just letting them search everything, you know, with kind of open fields and stuff, but it's like it's going to be quite a
Or instead of different sites, can we probably either build another front end to direct instead of sending off so many subnets, you know, and then we have front end and I can direct to different subsets of those. Just one single front end, go in and can drill in from there. Wherever.
I don't think they're going to like that.
Well, you could even,
Yeah.
Okay.
it's not shown here, but you could have a link on your website that says to search for court documents, click here, and then bring them into, you know, the ability to search. So you could have a list of, you know, search for these documents, have that hyperlink, they click on that, and then that takes them into what, you know, court documents. It'll take them directly to here. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think,
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to
I think you're
let the
going to want,
user select document.
right. I think you will want to have it different on your front end each time. You're going to want to see, if I was going to look for land records, I would go a different place on the website than I would for court documents generally.
Okay.
Yeah. And in some cases, these are going to be completely separate branding, right? So like if you're inside the TCSO side, you're going to want, it's going to want to look like you're in TCSO. It's going to look like, you know,
Gotcha.
you're the sheriff's site, and then you're going to be looking for information about inmates or whatever from inside there.
Okay.
Okay.
And do you have, are you, just FYI, it does support multiple languages as well. There is an API in there for different languages are supported.
Okay.
Just the interface. That doesn't mean when they pull up the document it's going to be a different language, but to kind of get them around, as well as mobile.
So do we want to talk about people having access to the web application from external in this meeting? Okay.
It's all about authentication.
Uh-huh.
So some documents will be public, some will be restricted to attorneys or whatever.
Yeah, so the restricted documents that are not public will, I imagine, will not go through this at all. So they'll have to go to the web application to retrieve the document because they need a login credentials, which is AD controlled.
We also talk about just build from and NAM and then passing through here.
Right.
Just validating in a NAM and then come to the public so you don't have to build two infrastructures, one going inside directly, one going through the DMZ.
Does this web portal also have the option to use user authenticated restriction to documents? How would that work?
Oh, I don't think so.
Already, the NAM will respond.
No, I think
based on the URL.
But then you're not going to the web portal.
No.
You're actually going to the web application version if you're going to authenticate.
You can still validate.
It just says you can't go back here with a token. This is for public access only. This doesn't require a user login. This is a.
That's right.
It's being called by, you know, built-in accounts that are calling across. It doesn't have any sort of authentication. So this is just public. This is web portal. If we want people to be able to access documents that are restricted to only them, like this attorney can only see, you know, records associated with this case, with this stuff, and that's all locked down based on their login, then they'll have to go to the identity management solution, and that token will have to push them into our internal network, which at that time they'll be launching the web client with their login, which has nothing to do with the web portal.
But you're also talking about that being AD authenticated. We don't currently put the external, like attorneys and stuff in AD.
They're just kept in.
They would be in the auth tree.
They're just in, yeah, not the same.
So the current web for attorneys, they have to get through the gate, but once they're in the site, we're using different credentials to go get the document. It's just we bring back more documents, we bring back different types of documents for the attorneys than for the public, and we bring back additional information.
So we'd have to have a separate web portal
that would
just be controlling.
You would have different custom queries over there that would be more open that, you know, okay, well, I'm over on the attorney portal. How did I get here? I had to come through NAM or through an authenticated, you know, so the public couldn't actually get to that site, even though we're still going to be running these public quote marks for the people on the phone.
Right.
Public
Right.
custom queries that are custom for attorneys.
But it's a restricted public because we're going to use.
Yeah.
So we could do that. We could just say that the NAM restricts access to this web application,
Mm-hmm.
and then that web application has the ability to do this.
Yeah.
You can front them both with NAM, and one would be unauthenticated,
Sure.
and the other would be authenticated or restricted access.
I think waiting for me to sit down, just kind of hash that out after the internal discussion. Will that work?
Could depend on which link you click.
Kathy, I think you can continue with your demo.
That's really, I mean, this is just I just wanted to show you the different controls that were available with the OnBase public access, and then just, you know, another just quick how if somebody was looking for something specific that you could control that, redact it, and that's it.
Do you have a part you can actually demonstrate the configuration part? Like how do I expose part of the portlet? Who, you know, that kind of is this the control panel or is this actually something your demo panel?
No. So there's a couple things. In config, let's see if I'm in config. I'm not in config. So in configuration, you're going to have a user here, user groups. Let's see, I think there's some, I mean, that's external access for attorneys. I think there's like a public access that you can set up. So public access, full text, public access restrict, and then you give them access to, here's one, search for agenda minutes, supporting documents, and released public records. So you're giving them access to these custom queries. Those are custom queries set up with the documents that you're going to allow them to view. So that from an OnBase is pretty much all you need. And then you're going to set this in, I want to say, like your INET pub. And there should be a public access. Here's all the different controls that you have. And then you have your web.config here. And within the web.config file, you're going to set up some of the authentication. For example, here, they have access to public. This is their username, password. Of course, this is just a demo system. The data source. There's some other things that you're going to want to put in here, your app server, and how, if it's remoting or SOAP. You could also encrypt, so you can set up some encryption there. So if you want to encrypt the document ID when displaying results, any of those IDs. And of course, there are, you want to do, is it HTTPS for encryption as well, for some of those things when you set this up. And again, these are just different things that you can set up in the web.config. Got a note here, hold on. Custom query display columns should be respected. Any required keywords. So there should be a section in here for required keywords and how you want them to put in there. So that's it. I mean, and then this communicates with your app server.
Okay. So we'll set up a password that will be in here and it's going to call across.
Yeah. Now,
what training classes do you have associated with the web config, the portal access, etc.?
Would you repeat your question again? I'm sorry.
Sure. What training classes do you have related?
To set this up?
Yes.
There may be something on premium. There may be something on premium, but I haven't checked that.
Yeah, we can check that out and see if there's anything on subscription premium.
Is there MRG for webcam?
Yes, there is.
I don't think there's a video. There is one introduction of kind of like you're doing the demo, very short, but I don't think there's actually a configuration and construction the portal video per se.
Documentation.
They
Yeah,
have
yeah,
MRG
I do have,
stuff.
yeah, I
Hardware.
do. What version are you on?
15.
15. Where is my 16? I do have, you know, the MRG, but is that something you already have for public access?
Yes, we can download it.
Okay, all right, yeah. And it really is pretty straightforward in there. And I will just look out on premium subscription just to verify.
I think we have.
Any other questions?
Is it called external access client in the old one?
Well, okay, so external access client is something different. And I don't know if I even have that set up in this demo. But external access client is actually a client, and it uses status view portlets to actually set up. And then again, based on those portlets, you expose what you want to have that authenticated user to pull back. So for example, a couple ways you could set that up. You do your portals that's in the web client. Let me just pull up the web client and I can show you what I'm talking about there.
You don't have license for the external web. I mean, you would have to, that's not part of your public constituent web access. So that you wouldn't have the license for that. That's more
Correct.
Somebody who has like agents or something like that.
Or attorneys, right? They could use it for the attorneys to authenticate and then expose to them what documents, and then they could only see their documents.
What's
Correct?
the module difference between that one versus we just expose our internal web server to external, like we talked about earlier, using authentication up front?
With the web client?
Correct, right.
Yeah, you could do that too. Yeah, you could do that too. And then you could set up those and limit the attorney based on the keywords, you know, if only to certain documents and that type of thing.
And that's the way you would want to do that, because this would require,
it's going to be cheaper.
Yeah, this required a whole different ball of wax for licensing, and you already own the public constituency web access, so.
Okay.
But in just kind of showing you here though, and this can all be configured to whatever you want it to be in here, and then you expose that. And then you could have users authenticate by requesting logins and stuff like that. So. Any other questions? So you're going to download the MRG, and I will follow up on the premium subscription, see what's out there for public access.
Great.
Tony?
Okay, so any other questions, guys, that you'd have?
I think we're good in the group. Ted, do you have any questions from District Clerk? Sorry, I keep forgetting you.
I do not.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for your time, and let me know if anything comes up. Kathy will be looking at premium subscription. We'll get back with you on that. And then you guys have a good, safe weekend.
You too. Thank you for the demo. Happy Friday.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.